$400 million was the amount that we spent on pickleball healthcare just last year in 2023 alone. And although pickleball is often regarded as a slower sport, these are still common injuries that can happen to you or anyone that you're playing with. One injury in particular that I'm noticing every time I go out and play pickleball somewhere, someone is experiencing it. Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Clayton Kosek, and today we're going to be talking about the two most common injuries that I've seen in pickleball. One of them super common, maybe you've experienced it yourself, and another injury that oftentimes requires surgery. And spoiler alert, it's not a knee injury. So this first injury is relatively common in any kind of racket sport. Now, although unlike other racket sports like tennis, the pickleball paddles are a little bit lighter. Now, although pickleball paddles do weigh less than tennis rackets and the force required to swing them is much lower, there are still a lot of people out there struggling with what we call tennis elbow. Now, tennis elbow is typically felt on the outside of the forearm and into the elbow right here, and its cause is related to these muscles in the forearm right here that all connect in this area of the elbow. Now, I've made an entire video on how to fix pickleball elbow already, so if you're interested in that, I'll go ahead and link it in this corner over here. Now, tennis elbow is a tricky one to deal with because it can take months and months of healing and resting for it to get any better. And sometimes the only real answer is to stop playing pickleball. And I know you hardcore pickleball enthusiasts don't like to stop playing pickleball. So other than rest, let's talk about some quick things we can do about this, because I'm sure you'll run into someone that has this at some point. So you're going to want to hear this. A fantastic place to start is actually by strengthening the muscles in the forearm. This is done with a single simple movement with your arm over your knee. And all you do is reverse curl a minimal amount of weight on your leg, just like this in the video. You can see I'm using a very light weight. You don't want to use anything too heavy. But these reverse wrist curls like this over time can help train those muscles so they don't bother your elbow anymore. The second thing we can do to help pickleball elbow is to help increase the blood flow to the local area. So how do we do this? Manual massage works great, and if you don't have someone to do that for you, you can always use those percussion guns, the Theraguns, the Hypervolts, whatever you have. You don't need to get anything expensive. I was actually in TJ Maxx the other day and I saw a bunch of these on sale, not too expensive. I would highly recommend getting these. You can use them after pickleball. They'll help increase the local blood flow, help for healing the next day so you're not sore. And you can continue to do it every day, really help that elbow pain out. Now, the second injury is a crazy one. It might seem a little uncommon to you at first, but trust me, it's more common than you'd think. And this one can oftentimes require surgery. Now, this injury in particular makes a lot of sense for pickleball if you think about it, because I know there's a lot of people in their 40s and 50s and 60s that are transitioning from maybe tennis or another sport, or they just want to get more physical activity. And they've really fallen in love with the game of pickleball. But for the most part, you will find this in any sport being played by any age, especially when it involves a physical aspect or being on your feet. And although I know that knee injuries are very common in sports like pickleball, and they oftentimes require surgeries too, that's not what we're going to be talking about. Because with the increase in popularity of pickleball has come an increase in Fasciitis injuries. And you might not know what a Fasciitis injury is yet, but Fasciitis is an abbreviation and it actually stands for a fall on the outstretched hand. Now that's just a general term. There's a ton of subcategories for a Fasciitis injury, but there's a very specific subcategory we're going to be talking about, and it's called a Colles fracture. Maybe you've never heard of a Colles fracture. I'm going to explain it. So say someone's going after a ball that's maybe outside the net. It's a little too far away, but they're running for it. They're falling forward and all of a sudden they fall. They stick their hand out and they land on the palm of their hand. Now that's what can cause a Colles fracture. You break this bone down here near the wrist on the thumb side. It's called your radius. Now, despite pickleball seeming like a relatively low impact sport, Colles fractures are actually on the rise. And doctors are reporting them as a very common injury they're seeing with pickleball patients. The quick and sudden movements in pickleball, like running up to the kitchen line on the serve, moving back and forth side to side really quickly, these can all result in the feet getting tangled up, leading to falls, especially with the hard surface of the tennis style courts that aren't very forgiving when you fall. But here's a few tips to make sure that you or the people that you love playing pickleball with don't experience this. Number one is to avoid reaching. I know a lot of times in the moment in the game, you want to go running and reaching for a ball that maybe you shouldn't. This can cause you to lose balance and just get into some awkward positions, some awkward falls. So if you're just playing in a Sunday rec league, maybe think twice about going for that ball. Number two is improving lateral movement. You need to work on side-to-side movements if this is something that you haven't done in 10 or 20 years before you just go out and play a hardcore game of pickleball. And number three, surprisingly, is be mindful of court conditions. If it's raining or if it's snowed or if you notice the court is a little bit slippery, tennis courts are known for being extra slick. So make sure you don't have any of these falls due to a wet court surface or any other problems with the surface. I have a video here about plantar fasciitis from pickleball and also elbow pain from pickleball. If you're interested interested in either of those, please check them out. I love helping people out, help them keep playing pickleball and stay in the game longer. And if not, please consider subscribing if you're into this content. I'll see you soon.